This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to My Worst Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
And boy, do we have an episode for you today. Have you guys been watching basketball? I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. Literally, I was like, we didn't discuss this.
No. Dude, honestly, it's so funny because Keegan and I, of course, anybody who listens to us knows that we're big Daily Zeitgeist fans. Hello, Daily Zeitgeist. Have us on. Don't be weird. Make it happen. Anyway, but both of us are like, you know how much I love sports. I don't know why. I do not enjoy basketball. I like watching it live. I love live sports, but I do not enjoy basketball for some reason. I like to play it. Don't like to watch it. Anyway. But they are obsessed with it.
They are obsessed with it. They have their own basketball podcast now. Which
I thought would relieve. I thought it would relieve some of the basketball talk.
It has. Yeah. It has a little bit. But yeah, for real, but for me, it's not just basketball. It is literally any sport. Like anytime somebody starts talking to me about like the play on the field, the ball going through the thing, I'm like, I don't care. So
you know what I do care about though? I will say ESPN's 30 for 30.
Oh, so good.
Chef's kiss.
I mean,
I love a sports story.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Okay. So
speaking of
sports stories, I do not give a single fuck about sports, as I've said already. But tell me why I was tripping over myself to see if I could buy a plane ticket to New York City to go see a play on Broadway about baseball. I was like, I need to see this play because earlier this week, Jesse Williams, who was on Grey's Anatomy, was trending. And I was like, why is this man trending? Because I saw it was like Black Twitter was like going crazy and they
losing
were
its
tweeting
mind.
all kinds of things. And I, without context, I was like, something happened. So I Googled it. Apparently, Jesse Williams plays a baseball player in this play on Broadway and he's nominated for a Tony. And he gets nude and wet on stage.
There's the whole shower scene, basically. Yeah. But I think there's like other cast members are also showering. Like I think it's like a whole scene, from what I understand.
Even better. I can't wait. I can't.
Sign me up.
I gotta say, I Googled it as well after you posted a TikTok, and I was intimidated.
I mean, look, I could not find the uncensored image. So I want to say also, like, as a theater kid, yes, it's terrible theater etiquette to pull out your phone during a performance. And that's been kind of like discussed. Like, okay, we get it. Did I still like break my ankle running to the internet to try and find an uncensored picture? I did. And I did not find one. I could only find the one with the pixels. And even
but it's a
then,
lot of pixels.
So many pixels.
It is.
It's a lot of area to blur out.
There's, yes.
Pixel heavy.
Yes. So, wow.
Yeah. So maybe we are into sports. Welcome to My Worst Sports.
Does Jesse Williams want me to be into sports? Because I could maybe become into sports if that's what needs to happen there. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to get a lot of people into the theater, supporting the arts.
Sure is. In fact, you can't convince me that this wasn't a PR tactic from the beginning. Like, I think that his team and whoever is doing PR for this show was like, you know what we need to do? Leak a picture.
Release.
Yeah.
They're like, that's magnificent. We need to share it with the
everyone
world.
needs to see this. Everyone needs to see this.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And he had released a statement before, like he wasn't going to accept this role because he was scared about being naked on stage. And it's just like, you had nothing to worry about.
Sir, I do believe you're fine.
Yeah.
And I mean that with all capital letters.
Fine.
Fine.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
What else is going on this week?
I mean, like, I have been so inundated with just work that, like, I don't even know. I mean, I completely rely on the internet and TikTok specifically to tell me anything that's going on. But I did see this thing that was who you are, like what your city would be based on your zodiac sign.
Oh, I love this.
Sign me up. Yeah, well, I want to know this. Okay.
Capricorn. Let me guess. Let me guess.
Yeah.
Capricorn feels like a very East Coast vibe.
Yeah.
But not like New York City. It feels like something in like,
Baltimore.
I don't know, Vermont or something.
Oh, that's not
Okay.
what I was getting.
Okay.
Okay, I have a guess. for you.
Burlington.
I will say these are
No
major
way.
cities.
Oh, okay.
Not
I
Burlington.
would say Capricorn belongs in Washington, D.C.
Ooh,
If I'm honest.
okay. Oh,
I think that
Cap
Aries
or Virgo,
I
definitely.
think Aries, only because we're a spicy hell. Probably it's gonna be like Phoenix or Los Angeles. Honestly, it's gonna be something real spicy, or Las Vegas or something.
That is so funny. Okay, so Capricorn is Washington, D.C.
Wow.
I could have put this together.
and Aries is Las Vegas.
yes,
Well,
wait, okay,
what do you
Pisces,
think for
Pisces.
Pisces then.
For
Seattle.
Pisces, it's got to be something near the water.
I think it's like
but-
Seattle
oh yeah,
or Portland.
something moody. Yeah, moody near the water.
It's Portland. And
Nailed
okay,
it.
so I want to say, like, these aren't necessarily the places that we would pick to live in, but I do think that they represent our signs very well. Like,
100%.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
just talked it through and figured it out.
yeah, immediately.
Okay, so our other missing friend out of this, because our other friend is Pisces. What's Sagittarius? I got to know.
Okay, Sagittarius is Miami.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Which
Tracks.
is stunning. I mean,
Tracks.
absolutely perfect. Whoever
Is-
created this list.
Is Leo Los Angeles?
Leo
That's
is
the only-
New York. Libra
Oh.
is Los Angeles.
No, that doesn't make sense at all.
Oh.
No.
I think it does for me
Interesting.
because like Leos want all of the attention. I feel like they belong on stage. Like it's a different vibe. Like the people who are on stage, again, I'm here for theater. Being around theater kids, it is very Leo energy.
Have you
Okay.
been zip zap zopping?
yes, at dinner.
Pictures, levels.
Oh
much.
my
So
God.
Okay, so if we had to fuck, marry, kill
Oh.
our cities,
Okay.
what do you
Okay,
think
so
we would do? I mean,
Yeah,
so we
Las
have
Vegas,
Las Vegas,
Portland,
we
and
have
DC.
Portland, and we have Washington, D.C. I have lived in Las Vegas. I grew up there, and I've been back there many a time. I
know what I'm gonna
have not been to Washington, D.C., but I
I
have been to
love-
Portland.
I have, and I believe I've talked about it on the podcast before for
that's
that
right.
fever dream of a fucking
Field
school
trip.
trip that I had to go on
Oh, yeah.
in high school
Yep.
where we did the Holocaust Museum and the Right to Life March. Spoiler alert, Catholic high school. So we all did it for the free trip, but that emotional
Wow. Roller coaster.
roller coaster of all of that, I don't have a very good
I was gonna say
vibe
you have a
with
lot of
DC.
trauma tied to
Oh,
Washington,
man.
D.C. I'm
Yeah.
picking up.
Not only that, you guys know with all the stuff politically that's been happening lately, this simmering rage in me, like I wrote a blog the other day just being so enraged. I can't imagine being in the vicinity of all the fucking idiots there
The
and not
fuckery.
Yeah.
just exploding in rage on a daily basis. So I got to say, for me, I want nothing to do with DC at all. I mean,
love DC.
but I don't want to lie and say there is like this Capricorn like rage in me, this like But if I knocked on Mitch McConnell's door, I bet I could change his mind. Like this thing in my head. Like, I don't know. But I got to say, I think it's not good for me. I'm going to kill DC.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, also, I want to say, we realize we have listeners in these cities.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So this is not a personal attack.
No,
on
to be
your
fair,
city.
love every single one of these cities. So
yeah,
I love
absolutely.
all of them.
I do feel like Washington, D.C.'s energy is very Capricorn energy, but I agree, in the same way that I have said that like a Pisces maybe shouldn't date a Pisces, like maybe a Capricorn shouldn't live in D.C.
Portland sounds amazing,
Yeah.
actually.
Portland
I
is
feel
a
like
really
I would
cool
marry
place.
Portland.
That tracks because that's Pisces energy.
Yeah.
Portland
Oh
is
my
a
God,
really
this is
cool
all going to
place.
track out.
But
Because I'm definitely going to marry DC, and that's Capricorn, and my husband's Capricorn. There we go.
Here's the problem with Portland that I have. I have done nothing but complain. It is torrentially raining right now. And it has been raining the majority of the time that I have been in Missouri, okay? It puts me in such a bad mood that like I don't know if I could live in Portland because it is so rainy and gray.
Have you been?
All the time, huh?
Have you been to Portland?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've been to Portland numerous times, and I got to tell you, I've never been to Portland where it's actually rained. It gets overcast, but I've never, and for as much in Seattle too, like I've been to Seattle where it's been like spitting, kind of drizzly and gray, but I've never been
It's
to
not
either of those
it's
places
not,
rainy.
It's not like Los Angeles, though. I
No.
mean, the number of sunny days a year in the Pacific Northwest versus Southern California, it's night and day, literally.
And regardless, like, okay, so
You're right,
even
though.
if
It is
it's-
worse. I like the sound of rain at least.
I like the sound of it, but if it doesn't get sunny, it puts me in a really horrible mood. If it is gray and overcast all the time, I'm in a bad mood. It doesn't matter if it's raining or not raining. If I don't see the sun all day, I am angry and sleepy simultaneously. Like I am both of those things, just like angry and tired. So I think I can't marry Portland, even though it's a very cool city.
Right.
For that reason, it wouldn't last. It just wouldn't last as romantic as it might be. Again, Pisces energy. Vegas, I have a lot of experience with. Vegas is like my ex that I can keep coming back to.
But I've been with you in Vegas. Just like that ex you keep going back to, you don't really like it.
You don't. You don't.
You're like,
you keep going back, but
well, okay. Here's my issue. Here's my issue. Having lived in Las Vegas, I love Las Vegas. I just don't like doing the Las Vegas things. I don't like to gamble. As much as I love to drink, I get burnt out on like inside recycled air, refrigerated drinking all day. It similarly to how I feel when it's overcast all the time, like being inside in a casino for hours with no windows, where it's just like the same sounds and it's like cold and like you're kind of foggy because you've just had like 18 cranberry vodkas. Like I don't like
but not
that.
drunk. How?
it must be the oxygen they pump in,
honestly,
or whatever.
But Las Vegas, if you lived there, there's so much cool like outdoor stuff to do. There's like a lot of hiking to do. There's a lot of like cool stuff surrounding Las Vegas if you're not in like on the Strip.
I will say it is or should be illegal to have the earth be that hot.
It does get really hot. I remember one summer when I lived there, it was like it got to like 120 degrees.
Insane.
So
and they covered like their handles and shit with like styrofoam stuff, like so that you don't burn your fucking actual hands.
That's some Mad Max shit right there.
That's true. It's true.
Bananas.
I had my jelly shoes melt.
Oh no!
When I was a little kid, on the it was like in the Target parking lot, like walking from the car to inside Target. So I mean, that is how hot it gets in Las Vegas. So you got to keep that in mind. But like you, Christina, I've never been to Washington D.C. but I feel like that energy, like the being surrounded by politicians energy, is not for me. I'm gonna have to kill Washington D.C. because I'm like I feel like I would want to throw hands constantly. Like I just feel like I could not deal.
I'm constantly raging on the steps of somewhere about something. And I'm like, I'm right here and they can hear me. Ah!
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So are you fucking Portland and
yeah, I'm gonna fuck Portland.
okay. And then marrying
and I'm gonna
your
marry
ex.
Vegas. You know, I feel like this is not I feel like these aren't the best options for me personally. But because I've lived in Las Vegas before, I know that I don't have to spend all of my time on the Strip. I also know that it is sunny most of the time, and I prefer the heat. Maybe not 120 degree heat.
Yeah.
But I prefer being warm. If I can just be by like a pool for a considerable amount of that time, then I'm like, I feel like this is fine. Also, everywhere you go has like stunning air conditioning because they know how hot it gets there. So, yeah, I'm going to marry Las Vegas. I'm going to fuck Portland. It'll be a weird, fun time. And I gotta kill DC. Yeah.
Yeah, I killing DC, marrying Portland. There is a part of me that I think that is already naturally melancholic. So the kind of gray weather or whatever, it's giving me mug vibes.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I have mug vibes in my soul. Like I am a mug person. So I'm loving that journey for
like
me.
a chunky sweater person.
Yes. Yes. I'm a blanket on the couch person. I'm that person. I like
Cozy.
cozy vibes. But I think fucking Vegas. I mean that is
spicy.
somebody I fuck with kind of on the regular.
Yeah, it's a spicy time.
Use a condom.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wrap it up.
I am so I've been to all these cities. My favorite city, other than Los Angeles, is Washington, D.C. I mean, I was a poli-sci major before I switched gears into the things that actually make sense for me, which is the arts. I love politics. I love DC. And you'll find it's actually a pretty liberal city. Most of the people, you would actually get less angry because most of the people actually agree with you.
Yeah,
so
which is so funny because they just want to enact their bullshit for the rest of the country. But
But
you know,
DC
that's the thing.
as
It's
a
so
whole,
funny.
it's not politicians. Like politicians rarely actually live there. They live in their own states, come in and do fuck all and whatever. So the city itself is actually fucking super rad. It's a college town. You got Georgetown there. You have amazing restaurants. It's foodie city. You have amazing the subway system. The metro line is c'est magnifique. It's historic. You have free museums. It's artsy. It's incredible. DC is absolutely one of my favorite cities in all of the United States because I'm a big history buff too. So you have it's just an incredible city. I absolutely love it. I'm going to marry the fuck out of Washington, DC.
Okay.
Would absolutely live there. Would absolutely going to marry it. Love DC. Now, I also love Portland and I also love Las Vegas. And there's actually very few cities I don't love. I love a good city. I will tell you though, and I love the rain. But as we were saying earlier, it's not like a big heavy rainfall city. Like it's not like a just thunderstorm, like pour down rain city. And that's kind of more the vibe I like. And I feel like I could get that in DC. So do I feel like I'm missing out anything by letting Portland go? And I love Portland, but I just feel like I think I'm gonna fuck. I think I'm gonna fuck Vegas. Yeah. Because that's just gonna be spicy. You know what I mean?
Listen, we
It's
love
a
a
good
good
for a
bad
weekend.
decision. We love a good bad decision on this podcast. So I think the fact that Vegas has made it into our fuck and marry selections for this segment, that tracks. That's very on brand for us.
It is.
I feel like for our listeners though, you got to drop a couple of the other cities that were included.
Okay.
Why don't I just share all of them, because I don't want anyone to feel excluded.
don't feel left out.
I always feel like Pisces gets the like short end of the stick because we're the we're the 12th zodiac sign. So anytime anything comes up, it's usually broken up in like 2 segments, and Pisces is always at the end. It's always because you're just like sitting like waiting for yourself to come up.
So you go in reverse order. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. I'll go in reverse order. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sagittarius, Capricorn, or I'm sorry,
Aquarius.
Okay, let's see. An air
What do you
sign.
think?
I'm going to say Denver.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a good Aquarius. I'm getting like a some kind of weird vibe, like somewhere like maybe in North Carolina or something.
Like a Charleston.
San Francisco.
Oh,
Okay.
that makes sense.
I feel like
okay.
it works. I feel like it works. I feel like Aquarius is more San Francisco pre-tech boom, maybe.
Yeah.
Like whenever it was like lots
Just
of
a
like
little weirder.
Yeah, a little weirder. Capricorn is Washington, D.C. Sagittarius is Miami. Scorpio, guesses?
Okay. Spicy water sign. I would have said Miami for that.
Right.
I would have been like, for sure.
Miami's got the heat, though, so it makes sense to me that that's a fire sign.
Right.
Yeah.
So oh man.
Spicy water sign, though.
It makes sense to me, if that helps.
Oh.
I got nothing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Miami is what I would have said.
New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
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 All right.
Okay. Little crab boy.
God, all these make so much sense.
Right?
It's so weird.
Libra, Los Angeles. I feel that. I do. I feel like the Libras that I know, especially the women, are so like extra. Like the way that they dress is so extra. When I think of like a bodycon dress, and high heels, I think of a Libra. So that's very LA to me. Virgo, guesses?
Practical.
Practical, definitely.
Chicago.
Ooh, that's great. That's my guess too.
Boston.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh. Okay.
I can see
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I see it. Leo is
This is
New
fine.
York. Cancer. This one I wouldn't have guessed. I wouldn't have put Cancer in this category.
I would have said Boston for Cancer, honestly.
Right. It seems like a
Water.
crab, clam.
Crabby,
of
yeah.
thing.
Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know about that
All right.
one.
Okay.
Gemini.
Twin cities,
the Twin
obviously.
Cities.
Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Chicago.
Okay, that's obvious. Just so
Windy
wrong.
City.
Gemini, come on, don't be stupid. You had it right there in front of you. It's the twin fucking cities. This is a dumb
Cassie
list.
said wrong.
And Taurus. What's the guess?
Bullheaded. I don't know.
See, Chicago Bulls, the Bulls.
See, okay. I feel like Cassie's like
Taurus?
done and done.
Oh, it's a main city. I was just going to say something like maybe like Montana or Wyoming or something
Billings.
like that.
Think of a main city that's similar to that,
Okay.
but it's
Denver.
Denver.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yes.
yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, those are fun. And I think that like for the most part, pretty accurate, like maybe a couple misses, but for the most part, I think
mean,
that those are all pretty accurate.
I think we clearly understand that they messed up on Gemini. I think that is the most.
Cassie's like, I'm not going to give this up until
I
you all
can't.
agree
No,
with me.
I actually would have put Gemini in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Like the twins, the two, you know.
Yeah.
I can see
don't
that.
disagree with you. I
can see
don't
that.
disagree with you.
Yeah. Oh, well, that was fun.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. No, thanks for finding that. That's
Yeah,
good.
you know I
Oh,
love a
man.
good, at this point, half of the things that come up on either my TikTok or my Instagram are just astrology accounts. Like that's like all
On
that
purpose,
comes up
though.
at this point. Yeah.
Yes.
And
I
I'm not
prefer
mad
it.
at it. I am not
No.
mad at it. It's a
No,
good time over here.
I got into a really weird space this week where somehow I must have stumbled onto like clean talk or maid talk where I spent way too long just watching videos of people clean terrible messes. Oh my God.
Love it.
So satisfying.
I love the lady who watches everybody do like restock a clock. I love
knew
that lady.
somebody was watching those because when I
Sorry.
scroll through our like group TikTok like For You page. It is so erratic because
it really is the three of us. They're like, what do you want?
Okay, I need to know who is watching the AMSR because I swear to God, I can't not
it's not
interested.
Me either.
I am so sick of I've like not interested 15 gazillion of those, and I'm like,
nope,
please stop.
I don't watch those.
Oh, it's like nails on a chalkboard. I literally can't.
No, it's not me. If there's a lot of anti-purity culture things popping up, that's me. That's my fault. So
I think we got a lot of feminist shit regardless because all three of us. So
yeah.
I would never blame you for that.
Well, we do have one new patron this week that I would love to shout out. Want to give a big thank you to Tammy Sitnick. Welcome to our Patreon fam. The three of us will be back together again shortly, in a few days, in fact. And so all of these backed up Patreon rewards will be put in the mail next weekend at the very latest. Everybody should be getting their rewards very, very soon. So sorry for the delay, but thank you so much. We see all of your support. It doesn't go unnoticed by us or unappreciated. So thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to you, Tammy.
Yes. And we have a lot of really big stuff coming up in the second half of the year. So Patreon is going to be the place where we make sure to give you guys a heads up first. So if you're not a part of the Patreon family, you can join for just $1, which is really great. But you get, the first dibs on tickets when we go on tour. We do have a brand new show announcement coming up later this year. So stay tuned for that. But thank you guys to everyone who's already a member of the family and a worstie. We love you guys so much.
Yeah. And if you wanna bear witness to our secret shame of our first 20 episodes, $1 gets you there. $1.
Because we are cheap.
Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Sounds good.
And we're back. Okay, I've got the Tainted Love this week, so I will kick us off with stories. I met a guy at the bar I was working at during college. He asked me out, and I said yes. On the night of our date, I ended up picking him up. He got to the car with some other guy, and they both got in.
Immediately no. That's going to be a no.
Immediately no. Like, the audacity to bring somebody into my vehicle on our date without informing me that this was happening at all. So already not a good start. Then he said, I hope it's okay that I brought my cousin. It's not okay. We ended up at a bar playing pool. Then he suggested we hit the strip club.
What?
Nope.
It's a first date.
No. Sir,
I was 22 and had never been to a strip club, but I was curious, so I said yes. I'm 32 and I've never been to a strip club, so
I've been to plenty.
What is he thinking? Like,
what's going to happen here?
You're just hanging with the bros, or like?
Yeah,
I was so
like
confused.
how weird. Like he's just like, oh yeah, I mean, I really want to like go out with my dudes, but I have this date, so why don't we just take her along?
That is the vibe.
It is
that
the
is the
vibe. Once we were inside, he made me pay my own cover charge. We found like at least cover me.
I'm sorry, what? And also, wait, you went to a strip club.
Pay to get
Women
in
do
strip
not
clubs.
pay to get in strip clubs. That's fucking
I've never
absurd.
paid to get inside a strip club ever.
Never in my life.
We found seats near the stage. He said he wanted to buy me a lap dance, which I agreed to. He called a dancer over and told her what we wanted, and she said it would be $20. He looked at me. I looked at him. I realized he wasn't reaching for his wallet, but
Honey.
I figured...
This feels... This is giving me a not good vibe.
No.
This is somebody that is forcing you into a situation, I feel like, to get like some sort of sexual titillation for himself.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I'm going to watch other girls dance on. You know what I mean?
Also, I'm like, is that your
weird.
girlfriend that works at the strip club, and is this all part of your ploy to get her more money?
It's
I don't know. I didn't even consider that option. It's just extremely strange. It's extremely strange to go to a strip club on a first date with your cousin in tow.
No.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
She says, but I figured I'm in it now. Might as well follow through.
Absolutely not.
So
ain't got
I
the
gave
shit.
her $20 and had the most awkward 3 minutes of my life. Later, I put some dollars out for the woman who was dancing. He leaned over to me and said, "Is it okay that I want to fuck you?"
No,
Oh,
motherfucker, no, get away from me.
Honestly,
I got to go
this-
to the bathroom and leave out the back door and get in my car and go home.
This feels a lot. This shit happened to me in my early 20s. It
Yes.
was like a thing to hang out at the dollhouse.
Yes.
You remember?
Oh, yeah, I do.
And it was like foreplay. It was like foreplay for
But
a
was
lot
it
of
foreplay that was agreed upon? Like you were both like, let's go to the dollhouse and get
For
turned
me,
on and then
yes.
go home. Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
I mean, like that's fine. I
Yeah.
think,
Not
like,
for a first date. I'm not down for that.
not for first date. Exactly. I feel
and
like
not for
that's
a
very
first
uncomfortable.
date that wasn't discussed prior.
No.
It's
Right.
not like these are two people who like met on a dating app and they were like, you know what I really like to do is
Yeah.
go to strip clubs on my first date. Because like, do you like whatever as long as
Sure.
both parties are like into that or whatever.
Right.
But to just spring it on somebody, like
Yeah.
what the hell? Like she picked you up, took you and your cousin to the
Yes.
strip club that
What?
she paid to get into, and then she paid for her own lap dance. Why would she want to
No.
fuck you, my guy?
No part is happening for you, man.
No.
No.
So
Absurd.
he said, "Is it okay if I want to fuck you?" I said, "It's okay, but it's not happening."
Yeah. You go, girl.
A few minutes later, he glanced down at his naked wrist as if looking at a watch and mentioned he had to get home so he could wake up early. I had driven us there.
Bye.
So I ended up driving this man and his very drunk cousin back to their house. End of date.
Honestly, it's so uncomfortable. First dates are inherently uncomfortable anyways. But you add a situation, especially as a woman, where you have yet another male stranger in
Yep.
proximity, and then going to a place that's overtly sexual.
Yeah.
There's just there's a lot of discomfort there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, terrible.
Wow. Wow. Woo wee wow.
Well, I've got one from a listener that wrote in. I love it. The title is Tinder in London is Hell. So
Oh,
Noted.
okay.
Glad to
Well,
know.
good to know.
She says, amongst my hundreds of awful dating stories I could tell you as a 28-year-old living in London, there's one in particular that stood out to me and makes me laugh/shudder even to this day. It was back in the winter of 2021 when COVID was at its peak, but I think there were a couple of months before the second lockdown where we were allowed to be free for a bit before Christmas.
Yeah,
And I
we're-
was-
isn't that every year? Isn't that our new normal now? It's
I
like
feel like it is.
everybody's
Dude,
going to go ham and then lockdown in the wintertime, buckle up.
Don't even talk to me about monkeypox.
Oh.
Now apparently.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
no.
I saw that today and I was just like, no.
No.
Whoever is controlling our
I swear to
simulation
God.
is like, I have tried everything. These motherfuckers cannot be exterminated. What's next? Right? Like, it's just like
It's the equivalent of putting your Sims in the pool and taking the fucking ladder out. That's what
exactly.
life feels
And
like these
we're
days.
Taking the ladder out
no.
was COVID. Now he's built a picket fence around the pool.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, what do I have to do? They're still alive.
Yep.
Oh my God.
So she says, at this stage, I would have gone on a date with a pirate in order to sit in a bar and be normal for even
my
one
God.
night.
I hear you.
Having come out of a long-term relationship a few months prior and in the midst of a pandemic where I couldn't go out and get over my ex the good old-fashioned way, exactly, I was in desperate need of some male attention. I matched with this guy, let's call him Tom, a few weeks prior, and we seemed to get on really well. Physically, he was exactly my type. Tall, 6'2", apparently, dark hair and blue eyes.
Apparently.
We have the same sense of humor, and he was charismatic and seemingly smart. The only issue is that he was always so keen to talk on the phone. Don't get me wrong, I like a phone call, but only once I've met the person and not all the time when I'm busy. I didn't think much of it and put it down to him being traditional in that sense. We're finally ready to meet, and I jump on the train to the given location. He had booked dinner, which threw me off a little, as I normally like first dates to be drinks so I can make a quick escape if they're
Yeah.
weird.
Mm-hmm.
Smart.
I didn't mind so much with Tom as we talked loads, so even if there was no romantic spark, he wouldn't be a weirdo and it wouldn't be awkward. Oh, how wrong I was.
No.
As my train pulls into the station, he tells me he's waiting by the ticket barriers. However, when I approach, there's no sign of this tall, handsome stranger.
Oh, no.
Not until I feel a tap on my shoulder and turn around to find a very short, balding man.
Sir.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not a shallow person, but this guy was nothing like his pics.
Dude.
He's using someone else's pics, it sounds like, even.
The only reason I knew he hadn't used a different person altogether
okay.
is because I could see he had the same tattoos. So these were either really flattering pictures or he had severely gone downhill in the last few years. I mean,
well, okay.
Who of us haven't? Let me show you a before after 2019
Oh, no.
Christina and
I'm not the same
2022.
person.
I have aged so much in the last couple of years. Look, I
am not the
can't
same
even
person.
judge. Yeah.
But yes, if I was to have to be on Tinder again, I would have to take pictures.
Freshies.
I can't use 2019 Christina. That's catfishing somebody. That's gonna be a different situation. They're gonna be like, you're a different person now. Anyways, so
Where's this person?
the first thing I noticed was that he wasn't 6'2", but nearer to 5'9" which
Okay,
again,
well, that didn't change in the pandemic. So,
Yes.
my guy.
Thank you.
as far as I know, it's not a COVID side
No.
effect. Maybe monkeypox. I don't know. But I'm 5'6", so it wouldn't have been a deal breaker to me if he hadn't have lied so outrageously about it. Also, the first thing he said to me was, "You're definitely not 5'6", sir. Why would I lie about such a random?
The audacity.
Honey.
Truly, for you to come in here and
Come
call me
on.
out on my height. Do you know, if I had
Sir.
lied that boldly and then showed up, do you know how like spicy my armpits would be even thinking about the subject of height coming up?
Yep.
So it is a real power move for you to walk in here and bring it up yourself.
Oh yeah, to turn it around and blame you.
I would like to go
You're
get
lying.
a measuring stick, my good guy, because 6'2" is not where you're at.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody lied to you.
Yeah, it's like what, 5 or 6 inches difference? It's a anyway. I had also noticed he was balding in the front of his hairline and attempted to save it by combing over his few remaining hairs
No.
with hair gel.
That doesn't
Honey.
help. In fact, okay, I mean, Cassie, you're the expert here.
Yes.
But
Yes.
like hair gel is like, you're grouping
That's
those
not
hairs
it.
together.
That's right.
It's going to make it look even
It
more
actually-
sparse.
yes.
It's worse.
Yeah. In fact, really, if you are going thinning, I will give you a hair tip. If you are thinning, you really shouldn't do anything kind of post. It should be stuff that you put on your hair wet, blow dry in, right? Because anything you put in after typically is going to separate the hairs, make it look thinner. Like you said, it's going to clump them. A pomade will do that. A gel is going to do that. Any of those things are going to do that.
This is so useful.
Thank you.
No, it
Yeah.
really is. And like we've talked before, everyone knows on here, I love a good bald look.
You do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just take it all off.
Yeah.
But I imagine it's got to be, I try to find like the female equivalent because I feel like guys that are losing their hair, I feel like it's got to be a very emotional
Definitely.
thing.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
yeah, but ugh.
Okay, wait. It just reminds me of the TikTok that I saw where that woman is like, to comment on a guy's balding hair is sexist or whatever. And that woman's like, well, what was he wearing? Was he wearing a hat? Was he wearing a turban?
He was asking for it.
He's just asking for it.
Okay, already deflated and 100% not attracted to him, I faked a grin and followed him to his car. Before we met, he said he'd pick me up from the station and drive us to the restaurant in his new Mercedes. Well, at least he has a nice car, I thought. Wrong again. As soon as we get outside, he tells me his Mercedes has gone in for servicing and we'd have to take his work van.
Oh, no. A van. No. A work van?
I look in front of me and see a beat up old van with mismatching doors and a dick carved out in dust on the back.
Okay. Look. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're going to end this date before
no.
it begins. You couldn't even wash. You couldn't
Sir.
even drive the van through a drive-through car wash?
perfect, I thought. As I got in, I was hit with the smell of cat piss and mold. I was already really, really done with this date.
No, okay. No. Why would you lie?
It's the lies,
To
honestly,
disagree.
because you're setting up. You're doomed to fail. Because if
Yes.
you're honest about yourself, if he's like, I'm 5'9", this is what I look like, I work for this. I got if you have like realistic expectations, you're not coming in thinking, oh my gosh, I have this 6'2" handsome stranger in
With
a
a
Mercedes
Mercedes,
picking
yeah.
me up. Like you're starting off the date on the wrong foot, and that's not her being
shallow
or anything.
No.
That is her being lied to blatantly.
That's right.
Anyways, the journey is filled with small talk and him going on about himself. No questions from me. No interest in anything I had to say. We get to the restaurant, and granted, the place he picked is lovely. I just wish I wasn't there with him. He proceeds to order food for us to share and tells me he's not drinking, so we should both get soft drinks. I proceed to call the waiter back and ask him for a bottle of wine because
Yeah.
I'll
A,
drink that shit myself. Sorry.
yeah, Lord knows I'll need it. And B, just because you chose to drive here in your van of horrors doesn't mean you get to tell me what to drink.
Yeah.
The food comes, and he also tells me how happy he is I'm in such good shape.
Okay.
And
this
I should
motherfucker
let
right
him
here.
feed me to fatten me up.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
No, I'm
Okay.
getting real Buffalo Bill vibes from this guy
No, thank
in
you.
every possible way.
all
I'm
the
like,
ways.
I'm not getting back in your murder van.
No,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
I'm not helping you put that.
He's like,
Uh-uh.
he's like, would you like some lotion? You're like,
No.
I would really not. I would really
No.
not. No, thank you. He's like, it's Bath and Body Works. No.
Nope.
No.
He then proceeds to physically try and stick a fork full of food in my mouth.
I
Can I
couldn't
have
want
this bottle of
anything
wine
less.
to go, please? Can
Thank you.
Can you
You
just, put
just
it?
pour it in a styrofoam container.
Yeah.
Just
I'm not wasting it. I'll leave a
And then
20
to
on the
go,
table, and I'll call a
Oh
lift.
my God. Oh. As we get the bill, he makes this over-the-top gesture of paying for the whole thing by literally reading out the price on the receipt, which was something around 150 pounds, and then saying pocket change to the waiter, but then not tipping anything.
What?
He then tells me he has another surprise for me, mini golf.
No, look,
Wait,
mini golf can
no.
be cute if it's something that if it's like a cute date with someone you really like. Like it's not. It takes a long time. I'm
It
gonna get
does.
frustrated because I'm not good at it, and now I'm stuck here with you.
I like
Also,
mini golf.
we just ate. I had wine. Like, I don't feel like
I
doing
have a
this.
question that I can't get past until I confront it, which is, do they tip in London? Is that a thing?
I don't know, but she
Yeah.
brought it up, so maybe they do.
Okay.
Maybe it's
I was just curious. I
don't know.
kind of thought that was kind of more of a North American thing, so I didn't know. Sorry.
Mhm.
maybe that's made its way over to England, and if that's the case,
I'm
sorry because it's a terrible practice. But
Yeah.
so me being my non-confrontational self stupidly gets back in the crapmobile and plays one long tedious hour of mini golf. in
I'm
this-
sorry. No,
In
nothing
this-
could be worse than playing mini golf with someone you don't want to be with,
Yeah. I love mini golf, but
but
I've
not
actually
with
been on
someone you don't enjoy spending time with. Like that
Yeah,
would be
that's
so awkward. It's just so long.
Yeah,
Ugh.
memory unlocked. I definitely had a mini golf date once.
I did too, and it was really
Yeah.
good.
It was fine.
But yeah, I didn't end up going on a date with the other. He was like wanted me to be his girlfriend. It was our first date, and he asked me to be his girlfriend around like the fourth hole.
Whoa. Which
That's no.
again, very bold move because if it's
Yeah.
a no, you got a while left of this
Yeah.
date.
And then
Yeah, you got 14 more holes.
after I was like, that's really fast. Then he proceeded to tell me, and he was in his mid-40s, that he had just lost his virginity the year before.
Oh,
I think you told this story on
I
the
did.
podcast.
Yeah.
Like
And I was
way
like,
back. Oof.
That's a
A
lot.
lot of information.
I'm not there, my dude. But okay, so anyways, she wins, and then he pulls a strop by telling me I cheated and demands a rematch. It's like a never-ending nightmare.
No.
He then tells me we're going to go back to a house
No.
he apparently
No.
shares with 6 other men.
No.
Uh-uh.
No.
Okay.
No.
Look,
No.
I'm so
No
sorry.
thanks.
At this point, do you even say anything or do you just walk away?
Just
do you
walk.
just walk away and
Yep.
call the lift? And
Yes.
just like,
Yes.
I don't even want to engage in this conversation any
Wow.
longer.
Goodbye.
He is seemingly in shock at this response and tells me how so many women would beg to be in my position.
Would they?
And that all of his mom's friends think he's really hot, but oh well, it's my law.
Oh,
Honey, you've
that's
been
so embarrassing for you. What happened to you during the pandemic that you think that this is okay to tell people? Like,
We're not
no.
okay.
No,
The
you don't know
dri-
how to act anymore in public.
The drive back to the station is painfully awkward, and as we approach the entrance, he leans in to kiss me. I back away so quickly, I hit my head on the window, and he rubs it for me, calling me a silly Billy.
I'm not convinced
That's
that he
it.
lives with 6 other dudes. I think he
No.
lives with
Silly
his
Billy.
mom
Mummy.
and her friends.
Yes.
Silly Billy, come on.
Silly Billy.
Silly Billy.
Get off of me, you fucking monster.
Finally,
I also feel like I'm getting clammy hand vibes from this guy. You know he's got
absolutely.
clammy hands, and he's got him like he's pawing your face with his clammy fucking sweat hands. No.
Oh, I can't hate this life.
my mom's friends think I'm hot. Okay. Okay.
No.
Well, finally, I'm on the train. My nightmare is over. I look down at my phone and see 2 missed calls for him. Maybe I
Sir.
forgot something in his car. I message asking if that was the case, only for him to respond with, "So what do you think of me? Can we go out with my friend and his
Block.
girlfriend tomorrow?"
Block. Sorry.
I-
Look, you know, I'm not ever like just ghost, but in this case, like I have expelled so much mental energy in this evening. I cannot formulate a response to this. Just block.
Yeah.
Wrong number.
She politely responds with the standard "thanks for the date, but I'm not interested" type text and think nothing more. The next day, I awake to 6 missed calls, 13 messages, and an Instagram DM. I
Okay.
never gave him any of my socials, all begging me to give him another chance, then slowly turning into hateful slurs
Of
against
course.
me.
Yeah.
He
That's how it
had
goes.
also added my mom and sister on Facebook
Stop.
and told them I was a slut for leading him on and that he could have been their potential son-in-law.
Oh,
Listen, I swear to God, I fucking wish.
I wish someone would message Terry Connor on Facebook. She'd be like,
First of all, you wouldn't get to my mom. You have to go through my dad because my mom is not on there. So my dad would be like, where do you live, sir?
These messages and phone calls continued for the next 3 months.
No.
Even after blocking him on everything, he would get new numbers and make new Instagrams.
that's actually terrifying.
It's so scary. It finally ended when my actual 6'2" ex-boxer stepfather sent him a very direct
There we go.
message
There it
along
is.
the lines of, "You bother her again, I will find you and kill you."
Oh,
I don't
there
know
it is.
where he is or whose life he's making a misery now, but one thing's for sure, I haven't been on Tinder since.
Yikes.
woo. Well,
What?
that was a journey.
A terrifying situation.
It's 11:11. Make a wish.
Oh.
I wish this room didn't smell like my cat just pooped in it. If you did. Sorry. Thomas, you can cut that out if you want. Ay. Okay, so our story, or my story, comes from a listener, and the subject. I have to read the subject line because she titles it "Grab your 10-gallon hat, cowboy boots, and buckle up, partner."
Okay.
Alrighty. I'm there.
I'm feeling another bad decision coming.
Oh no! Hello, you wonderful, inspirational women. First
Aw.
off, I just wanted to say thank you for bringing this podcast into existence. My best friend Kristen told me about it because her first story was used in an early episode. So obviously, I had to catch up and listen religiously. Your podcast has been a safe haven for me. Through the lows and highs of my life, you ladies are always there to bring a smile to my face, even when it hurts the most. I love you.
Aw.
Aw.
Thank you. Gosh, that is so wonderful.
I know. The story I just shared, she had a paragraph at the top that was full of nice things, but I felt self-conscious, so I didn't read it. But thank you for the nice things.
I always do because I'm like, it's so sweet. Like,
I
it's
know.
such a nice message. We really appreciate it. All right. So I'm from New Jersey, just turned 33, and work in social services, mental health, domestic abuse, sexual assault, and human trafficking legal advocacy.
Wow.
My ex and I broke up in January, almost 4 years together, looking at engagement rings and planning, quote, the trip. Then he cheated again.
Oof. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's still messy. I still haven't been able to obtain my belongings, nor can I say goodbye to my 2 boys, her cats. That's a story for another time. So I finally bit the bullet and went out on a date. My birthday was earlier this month. I wanted to keep things low key because the breakup was rough. So, I mean, like, that's still, she gave herself like a nice window of like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And your timeline is your timeline. Whenever you want to get back out there and however you want to get back out there is completely, up to you.
I wanted to keep things low key because the breakup was rough. A friend I went out to a local bar, not a dive bar, but not a dive bar, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yep,
totally makes sense.
Perfect sense.
Yeah, we completely get it. Now, I'm not the type to approach another person if I find them attractive. I just tend to think, oh, he's cute, then continue living my life.
That's, same.
And Christina and Keegan both raised their hands. I'm like, I can't not tell you how cute you are.
Oh, yeah, I know. I've seen it in action. And it's not just people that you're like, it's not people that you're interested in romantically. It's just like anybody.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It used to be having
girl
my drinks
in the bathroom. You have to. Yeah.
What? Oh, you are so cute. Stop it. Yeah, that me. All right. Also, I haven't been on the dating scene for a while. Well, ever really. It just seems I fall into relationships and just stay there. Anyway, oh my God, it's Keegan. Anyway, it was last call and I realized this guy was burning holes into the side of my skull. He mouthed the word wow when I locked eyes. I got confused thinking he's looking at my friend, so I get her attention for him.
That's also me. Oh God. You know what happened to me one time whenever I was in high school? I was in high school and I had just moved to Utah and I was sitting in class and I took like one class. It was like driver's ed or something. And a guy sent a note back, right? Like he was in the front of the classroom and I was in the back of the classroom and he like sent a note back and it made it all the way back to me. And I like took it. And then I was like looking like next to me, like who I was supposed to pass this note to. And he was like, no, it's for you. And I was like so confused. Oh no. I was just like, no, it couldn't clearly be.
Not me.
Me? Why I never. And me, I'm 2 rows ahead of you and it stops at me and I'm like, oh, it's for me, right?
Yeah, you open
like,
it,
wrong
you
with
lick
me.
half of it.
Oh, no, not for you. Oh, keep going back. Oh, got it. Okay, keep going back. Not for me. Jesus, I'm like a child. I got confused and think he's looking at my friend, so I get her attention. She looks at him. She tells me, no, I think he's looking at you. Yikes! She encourages me to re-up and say hi. I start walking over and naturally I look him right in the eye and panic. Yep, I tell a complete stranger I have to pee. And I walk right past him to the bathroom.
Oh my God, I love that. Oh my God, I love that. That's amazing.
He's like,
Okay. Let me tell you, I keep it classy as ever. She did the melting emoji face where it's like, so I stand and look at myself in the mirror in awe of my lack of game. Honestly, should have taken this as a sign, but hey, who isn't a glutton for punishment these days? I gathered myself up, went back out. Lo and behold, the dude was waiting for me with a pen. He told me his phone died, and so wrote my number on his arm. Let's call him Paul. Paul actually texted me to ask me if I made it home safely. That definitely got him some brownie points in my book. We began texting the following days and began getting a bit pushy to go out. I thought I was overreacting or being anxious, so I finally said yes. He seemed nice enough. We talked a lot about cooking and Star Wars. Also, to be completely honest, I find tattoos incredibly sexy. So when he sent me pictures of some of his, quote, new work, mandalas on each arm. Mandalas. I said that really funny.
Yeah.
Like I was saying a mandolin or something. on each arm. Let's just say that added to his appeal. Turns out he was lying. They were just stick-on tattoos.
Oh.
What a fucking nerdy thing to do.
It's so weird. Like, what a weird thing to lie about. Like, why?
That's so dumb. Like, why?
You're gonna get found out, bro.
Yeah, sorry. Oh my God. She said, which I wouldn't have minded, but don't lie. What was the point? Tuesday comes around. We agreed to go to dinner and get drinks at some swanky lounge in Morristown. If you're not familiar, Morristown, New Jersey has a lot of really great places, especially if you're in college and just want to dance. It's also crowded, overpriced, and you really have to be in the mood to go to enjoy the nightlife there. Paul ends up calling me an hour before the date, letting me know he lost his debit card and has no money, but still wanted to go out on the date.
Nope.
Now
Reschedule.
No, yeah, we can reschedule.
We can
Like, it's
reschedule my
not that big a deal.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
or let's do something free. Let's go to the park. Like, let's get to know each other super cheap. Like,
Well, here's the thing. Paul only wants to get laid. That's the reason why he doesn't care that those tattoos are fake, because he doesn't envision this woman being around long enough to figure it out.
He doesn't envision this woman as being a human being with real thoughts
Absolutely.
and feelings, emotions, or anything other than just being a body for him to, do what his way with. Like, what is wrong with people?
Also, yeah, that's also weird. But I lost my debit card and I don't have any money. But let's still go to this very expensive place.
No, I tell him I've got it. That it's no problem whatsoever. I actually got cash out for myself because I didn't assume someone else would pay for me. I did, however, take this opportunity to suggest going to a local dive bar with great food, which is more my atmosphere and inexpensive. I'm in social services. I don't make a lot of money, so it seemed the reasonable thing to do. He said, great. I did let him know it's a local bar, kind of like a Cheers, everybody knows your name. No, he did not get that joke. I'm like, dude, do you live on a rock? I explained that I have friends who frequent the place who may or may not be there and say hi. He acted perfectly comfortable with that. Date time. I get there and he's already at the bar, already finished 2 old fashions for my tab.
oh,
Again,
whoa.
No
Okay.
issue. But
Also,
come on, dude.
If you're broke, you're having beers. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I just
2
I
old
don't-
fashions.
People are really bold out here because, like, the way that I would be so apologetic if this was really
Same.
happening. First of
I
all,
drink water all night.
I would reschedule. Like, that's what I would do. First
Right.
of all. Secondly, also, and this just occurred to me, you don't have like Venmo or something, so you lost your debit card, but you can still pay people. Like, this is
You can Venmo. Do you have a credit card? Like, you've just told me a lot about your situation, my dude. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be buying like liquor, which is expensive anywhere you go, on someone else's tab like that, presumptuously.
Yeah. And again, no issues, but come on, dude, at least order me one. So I mosey on over because I'm painfully awkward and don't know how to flirt. Before I could stop myself, I say in a particularly cringy Southern male accent, "Howdy, partner, is the seat taken?"
God. Oh my God. Oh, I love her. I love her.
howdy,
Partner,
partner.
is the seat taken? I can only think, why am I like this? How did I trick anyone into dating me? Such poor, unfortunate souls. Damn it, now that's going to be stuck into my head the entire night. He looks at me almost annoyed and says, "Hi." Before I could finish, "How are you?" he says, "Go say hi to your friends," and points over to 3 guys, 1 seat over to the right. 3 of my guy friends are there, so I say hello, give hugs, etc. It's then that I realize his body language: hanging head, slumped shoulders, major sad boy eyes.
Ugh.
He said, "We met when I was outside smoking," not making any eye contact. So I think maybe he had a bad day, or maybe he's disappointed in how I looked. But I didn't let that deter me from my first date experience. I asked if he wanted to get a table so we could actually talk, like on an actual date. He snidely remarks that he'd rather stay at the bar. Throughout the entire evening, it's like pulling teeth talking to him. He wouldn't ask questions back, no eye contact, just pouting. I ended up going to the bathroom and one of the waitresses comes in shortly after. Apparently, the bartender and the staff were worried because the guy was being rude and short with me. She asked to give me her number, so if I signaled, she would be able to call and say it's family emergency. Guys,
Whoa,
it was that
how bad is this date? If you have, like, if the staff is paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. Because most of the time we're busy doing other stuff. So, like, if we're noticing, like, it's obvious.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So I end up staying after 2.5 hours saying that after 2.5 hours, I need to head home. I go out and we chit chat a bit. This is most talkative he's been all night. Then he asked me why I was anxious and patted his lap like a fucking mall Santa to sit onto his lap. That was uncomfortable for me, so I make a joke. Thanks, Santa, but I have enough gifts. I know I'm not Tom Segura,
hilarious.
But I thought it was funny.
She's hilarious. I love her.
He was visibly upset. Apparently, he doesn't take kindly to dry humor or sarcasm. Listen, partner.
Howdy, partner. I love it.
Oh, God. Okay. Next time, if you get nervous, as he's about to leave, he said, next time, if you're nervous, you don't have to invite your friends and bail on Morristown. He would not accept that I didn't invite them, that they were just there. As I had previously warned him some maybe, he rolled his eyes, then leaned in for, the kiss. Sir, what? No, thank you, I told him. And I was too early for me to kiss him, that I had really dry mouth and I should get some water and that I had to go back inside to get my things, but to text me when he got home safely. We hugged and I ran inside to do a shot. The bartender had already had one out for me saying, wow, that was painful. It's on
I want to go to this bar with this girl.
Yes, me too. I know, next toward New Jersey.
Oh, I love that.
So yesterday and today, Paul had been texting me about how great the day he had and all because of me and how it was such a great date and that even
I know
his
it was all
coworker
because of me. I paid for all of it.
Thank you.
Okay.
And all his coworkers said he was glowing. The fuck? What date was he on? Did I black out? He asked if I was doing anything because he couldn't wait to see me again. Again, no thank you. I said something along the lines of like, I'm very hungover, blah, blah. Now I'm typing out the words to say as to not upset him because he seems a bit unregulated. Wish me luck. So this is like super recent.
This is ongoing. Oh, wow.
Yes. So P.S. There is a silver lining to the story. One of the guys at the end of the bar turned out to be my middle school crush. Then we worked together as freshman year in college. He's that sweet guy that even if you're being made fun of, he would come over and give you a big hug and remind you that everything's okay. But also, he knows how hot he is. So picture this. My shit date finally being over. Me at the bar trying to process this. I look over to my right. Oh my. Insert sappy teen movie vibes. One Direction's Night Changes in the background as he approaches me. I love her. I'm bad at using words to begin with. Case in point with the country greeting. So I'm already sweating. He sits down. We catch up for a bit. Asks me to walk him to his truck. He's being all cute and giving me the side eye, smile, head tilt, rub the back of my neck. So yeah, we end up making out hardcore. He literally picked me up against the car behind me, legs wrapped around and all.
Oh, wow.
So he wants to take me to dinner. Did I date right? Stay tuned.
Dude, I love that. Yeah, that's actually a good date. Not with the first guy.
Also, I love like a good rekindling.
Yeah. You and I, Keegan, we read way too much like old school romance,
way too much old school romance and
is
oh no.
Yeah. Way too much old school romance and way too many like romance movies. Too many rom-coms where people reconnect years later. I love it. Ooh, I love that trope. I hope it works out for you too.
Yes, keep us posted for
you crazy kids.
You crazy kids.
All right. Well, you guys want to take a quick break and we'll come back with Tainted Love.
Yes. And we're back. All right, Keegan, you got the Tainted Love this week, so regale us.
Okay, so I wasn't sure what I wanted to do this week, and then I decided, why not a little history lesson for us all today? Okay, so today I am going to tell you about the case that sparked the first murder trial in American history.
Oh, yes. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So let's get into it. Julie Elma, who went by Elma Sands, was the daughter of an English Quaker who died before the family came to the United States. Her mother was ill most of her childhood and was fully infirm and I think like completely bedridden by the time Elma was 22 years old. So because of this, Elma lived with a married couple that were described later in court documents as distant relatives, though most of the things that I read on this case listed them as cousins. So their names were Catherine and Elias Ring. So I got most of my information from a Crimes of the Centuries episode, podcast episode. I love that podcast. It's so good. If you've never listened to it, I highly recommend it. A biography.com article and a Wikipedia and InsideOutTours.com article.
Nice.
Okay. So she lived with her cousins, the Rings, at their boarding house on Greenwich Street, which is now in Greenwich Village, but it was then like the northernmost part of the city. So the layout of New York City was just completely different back then in 1799. So in the summer of 1799, a house carpenter, a man named Levi Weeks, moved into the boarding house and quickly took an interest in Elma. She returned his affection, and the two were like quickly smitten with each other. They kind of had this like summer romance in the boarding house, right? So she lived in the boarding house. He lived there as a worker, and there were like a lot of other workers and carpenters who kind of like moved in and out of this house. So their relationship was really passionate and it intensified really quickly. And it was kind of like too quickly for the time period. And the fact that Elma came up with a family of Quakers, right? So they would spend a lot of alone time together, which was, if you've listen, Christina and I, we've read a lot of 19th century romance. We've seen Bridgerton. We know.
You got to have the chaperones.
People are not allowed to be alone together, but they were alone pretty frequently, and house guests would later say that they had caught the two in compromising positions on more than one occasion.
Compromising. They were near each other.
And also, I have to say, like... It sounds like these were some of the nosiest people of all time. And not that I'm super judging. I mean, we've vacuumed our share of grass.
Oh, yeah.
Listen,
in our day.
they do not have Hulu. They
That's
do
right.
not
That's right.
have the radio. They have nothing to do but be in other people's business.
And read the Bible.
100%.
I would definitely. What you doing?
Yeah. Hey,
Hey.
what you doing? I mean, and they did to the point where they're like, oh, we caught them in all kinds of compromising positions. It's like, yeah, because you would like literally go and put your ear up to their doors and like try and hear what was going on inside. Like, of course, like that sus. Stop it.
Yeah.
But also,
You were also in an uncompromising position. My dude.
but also, I mean, have I done that in my apartment to my neighbors? Yes.
Duh.
Yes, I have.
Absolutely.
In early December 1799, Elma revealed to her cousin and Catherine Ring's sister Hope that she had a secret.
She was pregnant.
Pregnant. She and Levi were planning on eloping on December 22nd. So they had set a date for their elopement. And she swore Hope to secrecy and asked her not to say anything to Catherine or to Elias Ring.
Oh, don't trust
Hope was
Hope.
really excited for Elma, and the two would often talk in private about her upcoming wedding and like what life would be like as a married woman. Ultimately, though, Hope couldn't keep a secret, couldn't keep her mouth shut, and told her sister Catherine about Elma's plans. So she told her sister on December 21st, so the day before the planned elopement.
Oh,
But
no.
Do it the day after.
But far from being upset about it, Catherine told Elma that she was excited for her and told her that there was no need to elope. You know, she kind of thought that like, oh, maybe she wants to elope because there's been all this talk, you know, and like they're quietly going to sneak away and get married. And she was like, there's no need to do that. Like, stay here and we'll throw you a proper wedding. Like, she was very, you know, excited for her cousin. Elma said that Levi wouldn't agree to that, though, and that he wanted to keep his marriage or their marriage a secret.
Oh,
Red fucking flag.
Yep. Bad decision.
Still, though, Catherine helped Elma get her things together for the elopement. She helped her pick out her dress and gloves. And because it was cold, it's December in New York, she even went to a neighbor and borrowed a muff, which is one of those, you know,
Aw.
I do forget my muff at home. May I put my hands in your pocket?
Exactly.
Exactly. It's one of those like fur things. I had one when I was a kid and I thought it was just the most glamorous thing I'd ever seen. I got one at like a vintage shop.
Right.
But it
What
keeps
do
your
rich people
hands
have?
warm. Yeah, exactly. Like I think I'd seen something and it was just like, yes, this is the epitome of wealth and glamour, right?
Yes.
So Catherine went to a neighbor and borrowed one for Elma so that on the ride over to get the elopement, she wouldn't be cold, right? So she was happy for her. On the night of the 22nd, Catherine described hearing what she thought was Levi and Elma whispering to each other before hearing someone exit out the front door. Given that both of them were gone when she went to check, she assumed it was Elma and Levi off to elope, right? And she's got this secret and she's, you know, excited for them to come back and share the news with her, right? But it was strange when just a little while later in the evening, Levi returned home to the boarding house, but Elma did not. Now, Elma not returning wasn't entirely unheard of. Sometimes she would stay with friends and return in the morning. But since Catherine knew that Elma was supposed to be marrying Levi that night,
Right.
she found it odd that he would return without her and spend their wedding night separately. She was like, that's strange. Still, she gave it some time. But when the next day passed and she still hadn't returned home, so she let the whole day go by. She let like essentially 24 hours go by until the next evening. And then she was really concerned. So on the evening of the 23rd, she asked Levi if he knew where Elma was, and he said that he didn't. And other boarders recalled that when he had returned to the boarding house the night before, the night that he was supposedly supposed to be married, he had entered the home disheveled and asking about Elma. And, you know, he was like, she's not with me. I don't know. So when both of you with like a complete side eye. So when Hope and Catherine were basically like, hey, listen, we know about the wedding, give up the ghost. Like, we know you guys were planning on getting married. So what's the deal? He said that he didn't know what they were talking about. He said that the night before, the two had an argument and he went out. And when he came back to the house later that night, when he looked disheveled, Elma was gone, and he did think that was odd because it wasn't customary for Elma or any young woman to go out unattended. So he was like, that's weird that she's not here. Elias Ring, Catherine's husband, was immediately suspicious of Levi and called in the authorities. They questioned Levi and his brother Ezra, who told them that Levi would come by every night to talk about building plans for the next day, and that night was no different. His brother came by, Ezra was busy, so he left and came back 15 minutes later. According to Ezra, this meant that Levi could not have had enough time to do anything to Elma because he was only gone for 15 minutes.
Okay.
Elias was not convinced, though. He believed that something terrible had happened to Elma and that Levi must have been involved. If he was only gone for 15 minutes, then it must mean that whatever happened must have happened pretty close to home. So Elias personally went to the nearby Hudson River docks and took it upon himself to drag a section of the Hudson River to search for Elma's body.
Wow.
That's how convinced he was that like something had happened, but he didn't find anything. So though Elias and Catherine were certain that something bad had happened to Elma, former president and beloved colonial figure George Washington
Colonizer.
had passed away in December. So he had just passed away, like right before all of this happened. And the locals were planning a New Year's Day procession in his honor. So because of this, no one really cared much about this missing woman. They were like, we're busy planning a parade, okay? So Christmas passed and then New Year's. And then on January 2nd, 1800, the parents of some local boys alerted authorities that the boys had found a fine muff a few days earlier near a well. So they went to check it out. And they found Elma's body floating in the well. And this was, I think, what's it called? The Manhattan Well. Yeah, the Manhattan Well. So, sorry,
is she haunting somewhere in New York as we speak?
For sure.
There's definitely sightings.
Oh, awesome.
I didn't write a lot about the ghost sightings, but there are ghost sightings. Of course, it's New York. I feel like anytime you go to like the
Anything
Northeast, old stuff. Yeah. Also, I feel like a well murder is a very haunted way to die.
It's a very haunted thing to do. Yes, exactly.
Yes. Her body was badly bruised and her neck was broken. For reasons I was unable to suss out, because I did Google it, the body was removed from the well and left on the street on full display for at least a couple of days before the autopsy was done. I don't know. I don't know. Like, could they just not travel? Were they like, it's cold outside. It's December in New York. The body will be fine out here. I don't know. Yes. But very weird. Due to the amount of time that it was in the well and then the exposure to the elements outside, there really wasn't a lot in terms of forensic evidence that they were able to collect. Also, it was 1800.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
When they did do the autopsy, though, they were able to determine that she was not pregnant, which was definitely where my mind had gone.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
exactly what I was thinking. Like, she was pregnant. She was forcing the marriage on Levi, and then he killed her to get rid of her. That was my thought.
But she was not pregnant. The coroner ruled her death a murder initially. And of course, because Levi Weeks was the last person to see her alive, and because they were allegedly supposed to be married that night, suspicion fell on him immediately and completely. There were no other suspects to this murder. Catherine seemed to trust Levi. She and Elias even left Elma alone at home in the boarding house while Levi was there for a few weeks one time, and didn't seem concerned about like the two of them being together alone or being together at all, right? She seemed to trust him. But the other boarders who lived in the house felt differently. They thought that Levi was a flirt who paid an awful lot of attention to Elma's cousin Hope. And one even testified that they had seen Levi leaving Elma's room one night in nothing but a nightshirt. Scandalous.
Okay, so wait, the boarders are saying that Levi actually had a thing for Hope, not Alma?
Both, but but paid a lot of attention to Hope, flirted with her a lot.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Catherine would later recall the events of the evening Elma went missing, saying that night she had been present when Levi returned home without Elma, and the first thing he did was ask for Hope, who wasn't home, and then he asked about Elma. When Catherine, trying to play it cool about the wedding plans, because she's trying to be like, oh, I don't know that you guys are planning on eloping, she said, I thought she went out with you. He replied, no, if she went out with me, she would have returned with me.
Oh, sir, I need you to...
Yeah, first of all, watch the attitude.
Yeah,
come
check
in here
your
with
tone.
that. Yeah.
The next day, when Catherine and Hope grew concerned about Elma being missing, they confronted Levi, who reportedly went pale and said that he never would have gotten married without his brother's blessing. So his brother Ezra is a major architect in New York City. Like he was the person behind, I think, like the Gracie House or whatever, where the current governor, I think, of New York lives, or
Oh,
mayor of
wow.
New York.
Okay.
So he's responsible for a lot of like architecture in old New York, and that's Levi's brother. So he was kind of this well-to-do, rich, self-made rich guy, and often had like Levi come in on his projects. So he said, I would never have married Elma without my brother's consent, and kind of insinuated that his brother wouldn't have given it for him to marry Elma.
Interesting.
He then, according to Catherine, cursed and exclaimed that he was ruined unless Elma came back to clear him.
Well,
That's a really weird response.
yeah.
Like to finding out that this person that you're at least fooling around with is missing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Days later, Levi found Catherine crying over the loss of Elma. He sat down next to her and attempted to comfort her. He told her, quote, "She is gone, no doubt, and all our grieving would do no good."
Jesus.
Catherine was, in fact, not comforted by this.
Right.
You don't say.
Okay, right now she's just missing, so
So what do you
feels-
know, sir?
right? And asked him what did he think happened to her, and he reportedly replied, "It is my firm belief that she is now in eternity. Therefore, make yourself easy, for your mourning will never bring her back."
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
still missing. This is the equivalent
It's
of
been a couple
like
days.
Yeah.
This is like those tainted loves that we do where like the husband's like gets on and is like with the news like, I hope she comes back, but meanwhile he's already tried to cash in the insurance. He
Yeah,
sold the house.
exactly.
and stuff.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
He's marrying
she's-
the nanny next week.
exactly.
You're
You're
like, I just have a feeling.
she's
I
just
have a feeling.
missing though, right?
Right? Right.
Do you know
It's been
something?
like 3 days.
Sir.
When Catherine pressed him further, he claimed that Elma was suicidal and that he had heard her claim that she, quote, wished she never had an existence.
Okay.
So
That doesn't feel
which,
right.
who among us at 22 has not had a similar thought? Okay.
But you got to think 22 was like 44 back then. So
So if she didn't come back, she probably unalived herself. That's his theory.
okay.
Witnesses also came forward to say that they had seen Levi only days before allegedly measuring the size of the well, which is weird.
Okay.
He's like got his tape measure out. He's like,
How
is
deep
the
is this?
circumference wide enough? Yeah, like
Doing some quick trig in his head.
Okay, if pi is
Right. And at the trajectory of.
oh my god.
the trial moved really quickly, starting only 3 months after her body was found, or actually, I think 3 months after her murder. So only weeks probably after her body was found. Back then, the court system in America, which we took from England, sounded pretty fucked up. So the victim of the crime typically acted as the prosecutor, while the defendant was expected to defend him or herself. The logic being that if you were innocent, you would be able to plead your own case and convince a judge and or jury.
Amazing.
We know that's not the case.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, in a murder case, the victim isn't around to act as prosecutor for themselves. And Levi argued that he didn't find himself fit to represent himself, which is smart.
Yes.
So he assembled a dream team to act in his defense. He had 3 defense lawyers: Henry Brockholst Livingston, who would go on to be a Supreme Court justice; Aaron Burr, who would go on to be vice president the very next
Never
year;
heard of him.
and of course, Alexander Hamilton, who was
Wow.
the very first Secretary of Treasury and the subject of Lin-Manuel Miranda's hit Broadway musical. And they
Never heard of
actually
him.
talk about this in the musical. There's a part in the
That's
musical
right.
where Burr even says, you know, our client Levi Weeks is innocent. That's what he says in the musical, because this was the very first murder trial, and Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr were co-counsels.
Wow.
So Hamilton knew the Weeks family because he had hired Ezra Weeks to build his manor house in Harlem. Ezra then brought his brother Levi in to work on that project alongside him. So both Weeks brothers worked on Alexander Hamilton's mansion.
Would you look at that? Something is maintained consistently throughout America that if you have money,
Money and connections.
money and connections, you're going to be just fine.
Have money, know people.
Love to see it.
Have money and know people.
So some speculate that Hamilton agreed to work on the case because he still owed money on his mansion, and he made a deal with Ezra Weeks. He was kind of like, hey, you knock 20% off this manor house and I'll represent your brother, whatever. The defense team's tactic was basically to say that the prosecution had a weak case. And I mean, they kind of did. Like, it looked bad. It looked really bad because it was like, why would Elma Sands lie for months to her cousins? Why would she allow them to get her dressed for a wedding and go through all of this and go out with him if that wasn't true?
Right.
So it looks really bad, but Catherine didn't actually see Elma leave with Levi.
Right.
Witnesses came forward to say that they had seen a horse-drawn sleigh driving without its bells at night, which was not something that would normally happen. And it looked like Levi's sleigh. And it was around the same time that Elma was said to have been with him that night, and the sleigh went near the well, but it was so dark that they couldn't even tell what color the horse was. So it was really no good. They were like, yeah, it looks similar to the sleigh that he has.
Did they get a
went
license
near the
plate on
well
it?
that night.
Like,
But
I couldn't even tell what color it was.
I love the fact that like the carriage, it's like the same thing as being like, I think it's a silver Toyota Corolla, but
Exactly,
I can't
but
be sure.
I
It was
couldn't
really
tell.
dark.
Could have been
Yeah.
gray.
Yeah, it was real dark, A nosy as fuck neighbor also testified that while Catherine was away in the country one time, he heard sexy time noises and a man's voice coming from Elma's room. But the man's voice didn't sound like Levi's. It sounded like Catherine's husband, Elias.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's so soap opera-y.
Oh, scandalous.
The man went on to say that he had heard sexy noises coming from Elma's room 14 times during Catherine's trip. Like, bro.
This bro
mind
was
your
keeping
business.
tally marks.
Yes. Had
He's like,
a
And he's
journal.
like a neighbor. Like a neighbor. Like, he's just like, oh, mm-mm. And he reportedly
I know
like,
that
told
Elias moan.
he told his wife, this neighbor told his wife, he's like, that Elma, like, she is ruined, right? Like, that slut, right? And I must also, okay, you're a neighbor. How do you know? You're listening hard enough to be able to distinguish between
That's what I'm
men's
saying. He
voices.
knows. He knows that groan.
this is like, do you need a hobby or something? Like,
Right?
is there
Is he a
firewood that needs to be chopped? Or like,
100%.
Is he a hisser?
there's nothing else to do except for like listen so tightly to see if you can hear like what your neighbors are doing.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
boredom. That's true boredom.
That's that 1800s boredom. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, no one else came forward to say that anything untoward between Elma and Elias had ever taken place. In fact, Elias had written a letter to his wife while she was away during this time period, asking her to return early specifically because he was lonely. So I doubt he was banging Elma during this time. Could have been, but it seems unlikely.
Feels unlikely, yeah.
The defense then argued that maybe Elma did kill herself. Maybe she had deluded herself into believing that she and Levi were getting married that night. And when Levi set her straight, she threw herself into the well. Which seems like a really inconvenient way to kill yourself. Just saying. Like,
Yeah.
that
Eat
would be
yourself
really
into a
unpleasant.
yell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what would happen if it didn't work and then you're just like at the bottom of a well now
Broken-legged.
with like a broken leg, They called witnesses to testify that Elma had a, quote, melancholy nature and insinuated that Elma was addicted to the opiate laudanum, which had been prescribed to her as a painkiller at one point in her life. They basically used the, tale as old as time. They used the tactic of trying to attack her character while simultaneously trying to make Levi look as trustworthy and hardworking as possible. Levi cleaned up really nicely. He had a really rich brother and powerful brother. And the defense basically used that like, look at him. Like, does he look like somebody who would kill somebody?
Rich people don't murder.
Right. Look at this
people
fine,
don't do
upstanding young man. Exactly.
Mr. Hamilton, I object.
Yeah. So Levi's brother Ezra took the stand and swore that his brother was with him all night, with the exception of a 15-minute window. And so if he was telling the truth, Levi would have had 15 minutes to go get his sled, pick up Elma, drive to the well, throw her down it, return the sled, and get back to his brother's house, which wouldn't be plausible. But can we trust Ezra? During Levi's trial, he tried to bribe the reporter who supplied the court transcript, to say good things about Levi. Like, he tried to give him money to plant, good things in the paper and in the court transcript. When the reporter refused, Ezra offered to buy the transcript from him to prevent it from getting out into the public. To his credit, the person who was taking the transcript again refused, but it makes Ezra look sketchy as hell.
Yeah.
Like, because it's just like, if you're willing to do this, why wouldn't you be willing to lie about an alibi for your brother? The prosecutor on the case, future mayor of New York, Cadwallader David Colden. Cadwallader.
I'm sorry, you don't sound trustworthy, Mr.
Cadwallader. Who names their kid Cadwallader? Like a little Cadwallader running around? But
is there an accent on that?
He seemed pretty useless. He didn't challenge many, if any, of the inconsistencies presented by the defense team, and literally called witnesses who got on the stand and then were like, yeah, I don't actually know anything. I don't even know why I'm here.
Oh my God.
But, this was just not something that was done at the time. Like, they didn't have trials like this. So I don't think he knew what he was doing at all.
I'll bet that this was the most exciting time in that town's life.
Oh,
People
yeah.
were living for the entertainment.
Yeah, it was huge news. It was huge news. The trial went on for 2 days, which at the time was apparently a long time. In the year 1800, most cases were presented and resolved in the very same day. So they were like, the jury got so tired. They were like, we're tie-tie. But like, it's because testimony would go until like 1:32 a.m. And so they slept there. The jury just like laid down on the bench and was like, good night.
No. What?
And then resumed the next day. It was wild. Nobody knew what they were doing.
No. Oh my God. This is insanity.
The defense also presented a counter suspect, a man named Croucher, who was an immigrant from England and apparently was so, again, wild times, because every time he's reported on, they basically are like, this man was ugly AF.
Oh,
so
damn.
He must have done it. Like,
damn.
They point out consistently his villainous features.
Oh, no.
They're like, this man was an uggo, for real.
Uggo. He had to do it. I'm sorry. Did you
must
see
have
him?
done it.
He ugly.
Nothing has changed, because that same kind of defense, we talked about it when you did the case from Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where it was just like, if you were
she's too pretty to murder somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then this guy, they're like, first of all, he's an immigrant from England. We don't like those motherfuckers right now at all.
And the immigrant woman was like, yeah, no, she probably did. Kill. Yeah. She
and they're like, he ugly as fuck. And then also, he really seemed to have it out for Levi Weeks in a weird way, I will say, because not that this part is weird, but he was the only person to testify against him. He's the one who was like, I saw him coming out of her bedroom with only his nightshirt on.
And they were like, you ugly.
Yeah, we're like, we don't care.
UGLY. You ain't got no alibi. You ugly.
Right? But he also, like, he would stand outside the courthouse and, like, well, even before Levi was arrested, he was like passing out pamphlets that was like,
oh, Jesus,
this man killed her. He like picketed basically. And like, to anybody who would listen, he's like, Levi Weeks killed Elma Sounds.
Wait,
and everybody's
did he have
like,
a crush on Elma?
Well, I'm like, why are you, this is kind of, it is weird. It is weird. But he had a rock solid alibi, so it definitely wasn't him. Still, it took the jury only
His rock solid alibi is standing outside of Elma's house with a boombox over his head.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Still, it took the jury only 4 minutes of deliberation to acquit.
They're like, they're
so tired.
Done. We are done. He didn't do it, guys. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
we
go.
don't care. We just want to go sleep in our own beds now. We're so sleepy. So they acquit Levi Weeks of the murder of Elma Sands. Elma's family was absolutely devastated. It said that Catherine approached Hamilton after the trial and said to him, quote, "If thee dies a natural death, I shall think there is no justice in heaven."
Oh.
And, of course, he didn't die a natural death.
Nope.
Only 4 years later, in 1804, he would be shot dead in a duel with his co-counselor, Aaron Burr.
Wow.
Levi Weeks, right? Yeah. Levi Weeks, though acquitted in a court of law, remained guilty in the court of public opinion. They were like, he did that shit.
Yeah.
So he left town, eventually married, and then died in 1819. After the trial of Levi Weeks, they basically stopped looking for suspects to Elma Sands' murder. It remains unresolved, but or unsolved rather, but people do have some alternate theories. Like if Levi didn't do it, could Ezra Weeks have done it because he disapproved of the relationship and didn't want the marriage to go forward, or some people do point to Croucher, even though he had an alibi that night, just because he apparently was a villain piece of shit, because he was later convicted of, trigger warning, raping a 14-year-old girl.
Oh.
Not long after, like a few years after, to the point where he was, like, they sent him back to England. Like, they were like, this guy... We don't want this guy here. And then he did some other shady shit, which he was arrested for in England, and was put in prison for. And then that ended up being overturned because he was deemed like not mentally fit or capable, but it was more like violent stuff towards women. So some people do think, because he did seem to have a weird obsession with Elma, that maybe he did have something to do with her death. So we will never know. But that is the first murder trial in the United States featuring our boy Aham.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Good story.
Interessante.
Yeah. Now I want to know where I'm going to go look up to see where she's haunting. Because
Oh, yeah.
I'd be motherfucking haunting.
That was interesting too. So Alexander Hamilton's company actually had built the Manhattan Well that her body was found in, and the road leading up to the Manhattan Well was built by Aaron Burr and his company, and they covered it over or something, and then someone found it in the basement of their house, like underneath the basement of their house.
No,
which can you imagine? That house was probably so haunted.
So haunted.
Yeah, and they ended up removing the well, and I think it's in a museum now or something. But they like pulled it up.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go.
Wow.
Wow.
Well,
Yoinks.
what
Scoot.
are we watching this week? That was like a television show. I want to see the limited mini series of that.
Yeah,
By
me
BBC.
too. Oh gosh, because yes, I mean
Masterpiece Theater.
and I want the horror movie because you have all the elements of, like, she was dressed for a wedding and was found in a well. So you got all the elements for a ghost. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A good ghost story.
And Christmas,
Wow.
it was days before
And a
Christmas.
well? I mean, oh, well.
Come on. Well,
Her hair's wet.
Well.
God. Oh, no. Okay. All right.
you got real Ring vibes, the Ring vibes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm. I'm not watching anything new, but I did watch The Exorcist again the other day. I was just like, I have a night in. It's raining outside. I got a glass of red wine. I'm going to lay in bed and watch The Exorcist. And you know what? That movie gets off to such a slow start, but
Yeah.
it holds up. I will say
It's a wild movie.
that movie holds up. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It is a slow start.
It's very slow. It's like there is so
Yeah.
much in the front part of that movie that I'm like, there's a whole archaeology dig that takes like 30 minutes. I'm like, why are we still here?
You're like, we get it.
Get to the
Jesus.
possession, please. That is what we are here for. This is what we play for. Okay.
Yeah. Next night you have to do Poltergeist.
Oh hell yeah! I absolutely will.
movie's
Carolyn.
Yeah, it's because I read a book called A Head Full of Ghosts, which is a horror novel that's kind of like a possession story. It's actually really interesting. It's a possession story about, it's a woman recalling when her family, her sister, her 14-year-old sister was supposedly possessed, and they brought in a reality television crew.
Oh,
And they had a reality show called The Possession where they followed her exorcism, basically. It's very interesting. Or it's fun.
I finished Ozark.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
Stayed up really late last night to finish it, and I've got to say, not great for your anxiety.
No.
That show. Definitely, it's like there's no stopping point where you're like, huh.
Oh, I can
okay,
breathe
where you
now.
can catch
Yeah.
your breath.
Mm-mm.
Nothing like that. So, what an enjoyable ride. I've got to say, great things about it. We did actually start watching The Offer on Paramount TV.
Ooh.
It's about the making of The Godfather.
Oh, yeah.
Not
didn't get great
great.
reviews. Yeah, it didn't get great
Not
reviews.
great. It's pretty cheesy, but then we were like, let's watch The Godfather again.
Yeah.
Enjoyable.
There you go.
Godfather trilogy. I mean, the third one, not great, but
Number
yeah.
2, the best.
Yes, I agree.
Clearly the best.
I like the second one the best too because it goes like back
Back
in
and
time.
forth, yeah.
And also the hottest Robert De Niro.
I was about to say, has ever been.
He is.
He's
No,
so
hot.
hot in that movie because I
He
had
is
not seen
so
The Godfather until this year, and I watched both of them, the first one and the second one.
You said both. Like there is no 3.
We don't need to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Well,
I've not
I mean,
seen
we don't.
it.
It's
It
true.
doesn't
You're right.
exist
You're
to
fine.
me in
No,
my
no,
reality.
no. That's fine. It's fine.
But Robert De Niro is shockingly hot.
He
Oh.
like heart
Hot.
stop. I'm like, he is never hotter in any other
Nope.
movie
No.
than that one.
No.
This is it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is it. I watched all of The Lincoln Lawyer. Chris and I binged that because we're fans of Michael Conley.
Oh, okay.
And so I had actually never watched the movie The Lincoln Lawyer, but Chris had recently, or not that long ago. And so I was like, Chris was out of town. And so I went ahead and watched the movie and started it as well. And we binged that whole series. The movie is good.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew McConaughey, like I can't get over a Southern accent lawyer who lives in Los Angeles. That was tough for me.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it was a good movie. It's a really good movie. It's very twisty, turny, and windy. At first, I was like, this movie's going to suck. And then I was like, okay, I get it. The TV show, just okay. I wish it was more in tone of the movie. Like the tone of the movie was had more seriousness.
Yeah.
Where it seems like the
jokey.
show is campy. It's
campy,
weirdly
yeah.
campy. And so after that, we've done a little palate cleanse watching the new Bosch Legacy, the other Michael Conley, which we love. So
Nice.
yeah, palate cleanse.
Well, if you guys have something we should watch or read, or if you have stories about the terrible dates you're going on, go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com, and we love you so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.